All right, so at the beginning of class, I mentioned that there's different homework assignments that build upon each other, okay? The first one is this popularity benchmark and average contribution margin. Okay, this is due next week, so it gives you time to process what we learned tonight and apply it to the homework assignment. Also due next week is this analyzing menu mix homework. That's going to be exactly like what we're about to go over. Okay. So we're going to do an example in class today, and then you can take this and apply it to the analyzing menu mix homework. The next thing, the last assignment is chapter 4 exam. Okay. So let's go over each one of these, and then we'll go over this activity as a class. Okay. So the popularity benchmark. Remember, this is that concept where we want to find the benchmark of what we're going to compare all the other popularity percentages to. So this assignment really is just giving you practice of doing this benchmark over and over and over again. Okay. You're going to do it 12 different times. If we look at questions 1, 2, 3, and 4, questions 1, 2, 3, and 4, they have pretty much the same menu. Okay. The difference is each question is asking about a certain category of the menu. So they're all going to look very similar, but we're basically using different categories. So the salad category, and we're going to go down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, same menu, same percentage, 75%. Okay. Same menu, same percentage. Then you're going to get down to questions 5, 6, and 7. Different menus. Okay, different percentage. I didn't line quite up like the way I wanted it to. Dang it. Okay, so different percentage and different quantities. Okay. Questions 9. Different quantities and now 95%. So this is just you practicing over and over again. Remember, we do 100 divided by the number of items on the menu, and then we multiply that number by the percentage. Okay. Once you get past number 12, we go back into that contribution margin. This is the easier one. Okay. So 1995 minus 574, you're going to find the contribution margin for each one of those items. Add them all up. Whatever answer you get right here, we are going to divide by 4 because there's 4 items on the menu. Okay. And whatever answer you get, that is the dollar amount that is our average contribution margin. So this first assignment is just getting you practice doing that percentage benchmark and the average contribution margin. Questions, comments, concerns about this homework?
Can I take a picture of that real quick?
Sure. This. I am recording, so you can always go back and watch the recording as well. All right. For those of you who are online, if you can make sure that you have your module 4, make sure you have your chapter 4 star horse puzzle dog activity with February the 12th, 2025 as the date. All right. So on this assignment, this is going to be like your menu analysis homework assignment that's in Canvas. Okay. we are going to find some more popularity percentages, find some contribution margins. We are going to well, Leona, let me address your question in a second. We're gonna find our benchmarks and our averages. We're gonna find the high and low for each item, and then we're going to identify what the category is. Okay. And then we're gonna do some changes. We're gonna change up our menu a little bit. Okay. And we're gonna do it again. And you're gonna identify which categories, which items changed from one category to another, or if they stayed the same. Okay. That is your analyzing menu mix homework. So when you do the analyzing menu mix homework, there are files here in Canvas. So this is the numbers that you are going to be working off of. Okay. So it looks very similar to what we're doing here, okay, in class. And then when you preview it, or when you actually take it, they ask you the chicken sandwich has contribution margin and it has a popularity percentage. So you're going to put those numbers in the quiz. Okay. And then this one is just going to ask you the average contribution. The benchmark is 80% of the average. And then you're just going to put it into the categories. Okay. Food cost. How do we find food cost percentage? So with the triangle, exactly. Okay. The cost divided by the sales. So if we look up here on our page, we have the total sales and we have the total costs right here. So you can divide those and get your food cost percentage. Okay. The last one, before we go over this in-class assignment, is your chapter 4 exam. Chapter 4 exam brings all the concepts together. Okay. Questions 1 through 9 are going to be multiple choice. Questions 10 through 70. Let me change that real quick because I forgot to do that. Questions 10 through 70 are going to be on this document here. Does this look familiar? That's what you see right here. Okay. So questions 10, you'll see right here, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So those questions line up to the quiz that's in Canvas. All of these, you're going to use the triangle. Okay. This is asking for food cost percentage. This one's asking for menu selling price. And this one's asking to calculate the cost. Okay. So that's going to be all the triangle. This one right here is going to be food cost percentage again, but this time you have to add up your cost and your sales to get your numbers. It sounds like a lot because there's 70 questions on the exam. Sounds like a lot of questions. However, you've got 14 questions that are just high or low. Actually, you have 28 questions that are just high or low. Is it high or is it low? Okay. So just 28 questions of that. So you see how each one builds upon each other to get to that chapter 4 exam. Okay. So now let's talk about this assignment. What we're going to do in class today. All right. So How do we find the percentage, the popularity percentage, not the benchmark, right? The benchmark is the one that adds that factor, but just the popularity percentage by itself. What do we have to do? Yeah, go ahead, Vanessa. Add up all the menu items. So in this case, we have 175. So you guys want to circle 175 right here? I would circle that 175. Okay. And then go up here to 40, where it says 40. Well, you're going to do the next ones like 50, 10, 5, and 10. I would go ahead and divide just like this. Where's my draw? Can I not draw on Excel? Okay, I'm going to draw on this then. Let me zoom in. What I would recommend is that you circle this 175 and then actually write divided by 175. So that way you remember where that number came from. So divide by 175, then you can write your percentage in that. So let's first do our percentages and then let's do our contribution margins.
If the percentage is like 0.057, whatever, do we round it to 6 or do we just leave it at 5?
I would do 5.7. Yeah, I would have one decimal for the percentages. So I went ahead and copied my formulas down so you can check your work. I'll highlight them so you can see a little bit better. So we have our percentages and we have the contribution margins. All right. So couple things you can do for your contribution margin. How do we, or sorry, contribution average. How do we find the average of it? Add them all up and then divide by that, right? Check this out. If in Excel, if I just highlight all of these, click and drag and highlight all of them, it's kind of hard to see down here in the bottom, but it gives me an average of $4.27. I don't even have to do any math on my calculator. The other thing you can do in Excel, equals. What does equal mean in Excel?
What?
When I put the equal sign in the cell, what is that telling Excel? I'm telling Excel, wake up. I want you to do some math for me. I want you to do something for me. Okay. So if I type in equals average, parentheses, highlight, close parentheses, enter, it gives me the average. Okay. Work smarter, not harder. You still have to know what the average is, right? You could go the long way around, equals parentheses, this, plus 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 this. Close your parentheses. Don't forget our order of functions, right? Parentheses divided by 7. Oh, we have 8. Sorry, we have 8. So you can type your mathematical formula just like you would do it on your calculator, but Excel just does it all at once. Okay? Yeah.
How do you get the MC item again? Like how do you?
You subtract the menu price. You subtract menu price minus the cost. Yeah. Contribution margin is the menu price minus the cost. All right, then let's do this one together for the popularity benchmark. Popularity benchmark says we have to have 75% of the average popularity. So we take 100% and we divide by what number? Which number? Divide by, how many menu items do we have? 8. There we go. So 100 divided by 8 gives me 12.5. And I'm going to multiply that by the 0.75. Okay. And that gives me, what did we say last time? 9.3. So that is my popularity benchmark, 9.3. Oops. Just type it in. Now that I have those numbers, now I can do my high and low.
Can you please do that again? The popularity benchmark?
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So for the popularity benchmark, we're going to take 100% and divide by the number of items on the menu. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we divide by 8 items. And that is going to give me 12.5%. So that is the average popularity. Okay. And then we must meet 75% of that. So we're going to multiply by the 0.75. And that gives us 9.3.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what I'm going to ask that you do is find out your high and low categories. Then find out your category for your menu items. Okay. And then I want you to go to the bottom and I would like you to do the same thing we did on the top. But you're going to do the bottom portion by yourself. And then at this side over here, the category change. Let's say it went from a plow horse to a star. You would just write plow horse to star. And that would be the change. If there's no change, you write none. There's no changes. Sometimes the menu items don't change. Okay. You want to see something really fun and exciting?
Yes.
This is what happens when I get bored. So in Excel, I went through and you can actually compare items to something else. So in here, I can do a conditional formatting and I can highlight the cells if they are higher than 427 and they're green. So that tells me all the green ones are high, all the red ones are low, just by looking at it. Conditional formatting, 0.094. Oops. I want it to be, I don't know why it defaults to red, especially when it's greater than, because green's a good number. In my, there you go. And now I can see very clearly high and low. That's what happens when I get bored. All right. So when you
people end up using Excel for their own spreadsheets, like businesses,
Oh yeah,
they use
absolutely.
shortcuts.
A lot of things that you can buy programs for that are super expensive, you more than likely can do in Excel. It might take you a little time to figure out how to replicate it, but you can absolutely do it in Excel, most likely. All right, one thing to keep in mind when you go to the bottom, we've changed our factor to 80%. That's going to be a different number than 9.3 or 9.4. Okay.